First of all, I just want to say that I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional. These are just my idea on how to bow hunt. Now and then I get quite a bit of requests from people around Waikato, Auckland, Tauranga to go out and do some bow hunting. So these people are either experienced hunters that have just picked up a bow for the first time, and there's people that just started bow hunting, and there's just people that are into archery that want to bow hunt. So they ask me about locations, about how to hunt and what to hunt for. So I normally take them out and show them a few things or two. And when I take them out, I normally just give them the opportunity to make a shot while I just stand back and videotape. Every week for the last month or so, I've had someone new and we always get the same result. So once I've set them up on an animal, mainly a goat, because goats are easy to start off with, we kind of get the same result, which they miss or they aren't able to make that shot, or it's out of range. So I just want to share this interesting clip and just break it down into pieces on what I would do if I was in that position. For this video, let me set the scene. We've been walking for a little while and we're walking in the bush and we come across an animal. We haven't quite identified what it is yet, but we know it's an animal. In this case, it turned out to be a billy goat, and instantly I told Cliff, I said, put an arrow into your bow, like knock it up. So every time that I'm walking, I'm either just walking with a bow in hand like this or like that, whatever way I carry it. But it's up to you whether you use a sling or however you carry it. It's really up to you. Now, once you come up and identify that there's an animal that you might not want to shoot, but you just want to identify it and you know it's an animal, first thing to do is knock your arrow. So get your arrow in position and get it ready. So the key point of this is to make this process, I'll just do that again, make this process as quietly as you can. So nice and quiet, okay? You don't want to be undoing your arrow, getting your arrow out and start making that noise, because an animal will pick that up quite easily. So everybody is thinking probably the same thing. The first thing is camo. So I normally hunt in camo. It doesn't have to be the most expensive camo, it can just be anything. As long as it breaks down the pattern so that it's just not like a plain colour. So you can get good camo these days, or you can just get the cheap camo. They all work the same. So once you've got your arrow knocked up and ready to go, if you're using a traditional bow, what I like to do is I like to have my fingers already on the string, okay? And if I need to adjust my position, I'll be walking like this, right? Or stalking like that. If I was using a compound, I have my release aid, clip it onto the D-loop, and I'll be walking and adjusting like this, okay? I wouldn't be walking that close to an animal doing that, alright? Everything will be ready to go. So you'll be in this position, there might be a tree in the way, and then you just start walking, you pass that tree, you load up, and you fire. With a couple of hunts that I've been on, I noticed my friends are using rangefinder, and they're pretty good. I like rangefinder, but I think sometimes you don't need a rangefinder, especially if you're so close. So, and I guess you can guess the distance, you know. Once you start shooting at home, you can kind of roughly guess the distance. With a compound, you've got a sight, it's already got a pin in a sight, and whether it's standing here or standing a few meters back, couple meters back, let's just say 5 meters back, will make no difference between that range and this range. So in my mind, I like to just imagine, well, this is tradition, so it's a little bit different, but if I was shooting compound, I'll have my first pin at a close range and shoot it, and then I'll step back and I'll roughly know when it's about to drop. So even you're shooting with a compound, you still have to use a little bit of instinctive shooting. So shooting something close when you've got the target over there, and then I'm just standing over here. So it'll make no difference on the first pin or on the first adjustment if you've got a compound, you know, like shooting here, alright, and then shooting over here on your first pin should be pretty much exactly the same. Okay, so I wouldn't be too fussed about using the rangefinder if you're super close, or, you know, let's just say within 20 meters, okay, within 20-25 meters, I wouldn't bother using a rangefinder. You just guess that it's 20 meters or 15 meters or 10 meters. It's just when we get a bit longer, over 30 meters, if you want to make those long shots, then I would rangefind it. The goat was standing there and there was 2 trees in the way, so he had a bit of a gap, let's just say that much of a gap to shoot through. So if you want to practice at home, get one of those swimming noodles, you know, those foam noodles that you can get real cheap, and set them up between your target. We get used to just shooting on a clear target that we're used to it, but when we're in the bush we might have some ferns or we might have some trees to, you know, move around and try to get our arrows in between. So practice on those, doing that kind of setup. But if the shot's too difficult, don't take it. Of course, you don't want to injure the animal. If you're in that position where you raise it up and the animal starts running away, I would recommend following that animal, okay, because it might still be in bow range and it might stop in time for you. If you were using a compound, you know how you get a full draw and you relax like that, you'll be following the animal around like that, okay, just making sure that your firing range is all clear so that there's your arrow's not going to hit anybody or hit anyone. But you'll be following that animal around just in case it stops in time, which in this case, in Cliff's attempt, it did stop. It stopped in about around 30 meters, and he could have made a shot there. Okay, so if it was with a recurve, you draw it up, it starts moving, you can still follow it around, and then when it stops, so if I was here and then it starts moving to here, then it stopped, you draw back and you hit. Okay, that's actually a good shot. When you're about 15 meters, you don't have all the time in the world to make a shot. They're going to either smell you, hear you, see you, so you've got to get that shot in pretty quick. If you are, getting ready to shoot, just make sure that you're in a good, stable position so that you're ready to fire. Sometimes you might have to. Sorry about the clothes in the background because it's been raining these last couple of days. Sometimes you may have to kneel down, okay, like this, and just wait until the animal gets ready, and you might have to shoot, on the ground, all right? So it depends on, where you're located. Sometimes you'll just be up here. Sometimes you'll be up a hill, downhill. It really depends, but you've got to be in a position ready to shoot. But just like everything else, everything takes practice. Everything needs a bit of work here and there. Just because you've got the latest bow or the best equipment doesn't mean that you're always going to be hitting the target all the time when it comes to bow hunting. So the best thing is just to get out there, go to the bush, try to pick out an animal that you like to shoot, and just get used to shooting it. Always shoot for food, I don't like the idea of just shooting for fun and leaving the animal there. So that's what I do, is I shoot for food. And so in conclusion, it just takes time to become a good bow hunter. Some people will pick it up faster than others, and some people will be a little bit slow, but it's a fun journey.